All right, let's bring in the pros and bring in Anurag Rana, Bloomberg Intelligence Senior Technology Analyst. And Anurag, we were just saying how Apple doesn't provide forecasts anymore. It will give us some kind of hint of what it's looking forward to on the conference call. But in terms of the numbers that were reported, what gets your attention?
Oh, the services revenue really stood out to us. I was not expecting this big of a beat. So that's good news. On the other side, China numbers were below what we were looking at. So that's a bit of a fail. So the most important part is going to be when they get on the conference call, they need to tell us what's happening in China and what can we expect for next year. I think that remains the most important question for the stock right now.
Let's talk a little bit more about China, though, because, the more you look at it, coming in $2 billion less than what Wall Street had expected, it's a massive miss. How much of a long-term problem is that here?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing we're going to find out on the call as to whether they are losing market share to Huawei or is this more a consumer spending slowdown. If it is a consumer spending slowdown, then I personally am not that concerned. Maybe things get pushed out for another 6 to 9 months. But if they're losing market share to a local phone maker, I think that's a bigger concern because China is, for the midterm, the big growth driver for Apple's products. Now, the services unit, I think this is going to be another story, is how did they actually manage to get 16% growth right now, where we were expecting a lot less than that?
How the fuck, we should mention that for the iPhone, the revenue of $43.81 billion is higher than what analysts had anticipated, which was $43.73 billion. But as Mark Gurman, who is kind of our expert on all things Apple, certainly Apple devices, he makes the point of saying this was a slight beat, but not all that impressive given that a year ago, the iPhone 14 Pro couldn't be sold for several weeks because of the Foxconn slowdown due to COVID. So you're looking at comps that should prove more favorable for this year and hasn't. Anurag, what do you make of that?
No, I think that's the most important piece. We are running into very easy comparison in the current quarter or the December quarter, which is the holiday season. Last year, we were not able to get phones because of a problem in China. So if they are not able to show growth this year, then it's going to be a bit of a problem for them. I think the comparisons are really easy, but China remains the big wild card right now.
And Anurag, let's also talk about Mac because, when you think about the Mac family, it's definitely become a smaller percent of their overall shares. But still, it was a huge miss on Mac as well, about $1 billion below expectations. But you weigh that out across some of the other areas of the business. How do you think about that?
Yeah, so from our side, Macs will outgrow the entire PC market over the long run. And that's because they have their own chips. The product is phenomenal. But at the same time, we know the PC cycle moves up and down. So I'm less concerned about the Macs. Longer term, I think they're going to gain share at any given quarter, at any given 6 months, things could be lumpy. So if they fell down right now in 6 months, it could be the exact opposite of that.
All right, Anurag, really appreciate the instant analysis and insight that you bring. Is Anurag Rana of Bloomberg Intelligence.